Hey everyone! Now today I'm very excited because we've got some new things to show you. These are products that I haven't used before until very recently, and spoiler alert, I'm impressed. So let me introduce you to what we're playing with today. Now first of all I must say thank you to Craft Resin for sponsoring this video and for giving you some really cool discounts. So have a look down in the video description below. We have got some moulds ready. I've got some little jewellery moulds. I've got a crystal-y mould, I've got a big fat chunky pendant mould, and we've got my favourite mould of all time, a little fat pot mould. So we'll be playing with those in conjunction with these materials. First we're going to be looking at the epoxy resin. Let's get unboxing. So in your box you get stuff. You get a discount card for the next time you purchase. We've got our instructions, here we are, how to use. So follow the steps. Now the bit I'm interested in is this stuff has got a nice long pot life, which I think, you know, as in time to work. That means you've got plenty of time to play with it. Yeah, working time, this is the one I was looking for. About 45 minutes. Now I would say if you're a beginner, the longer the working time the better, because it gives you time to think and get yourself sorted. I tend to blast through things now because I've been doing it for years, but I know when I was a beginner that longer working time was a godsend. If you've warmed either the resin or the hardener in a warm water or a heating machine beforehand, you can decrease that working time a bit down to sort of half an hour though. Obviously very warm room temperatures will do that, but you've got a really good beginner friendly instruction book in several languages, which is great. So we'll put that to one side. Now they provide us with some little rubber gloves, which I'm going to leave in the bag because I've got my pretty purple ones, and a little stir stick. I love these. We're going to be mixing some resin up and we're going to be doing the bigger pieces. I'm going to start to talk to you when you use ultraviolet curing resin or when you use this stuff. So these are all quite chunky. Now ultraviolet curing resin, which we will come on to and demonstrate shortly, is for shallow small pores like little jewellery pieces, and I'll explain more about why later. So what we won't want to do is go too deep with it, and this is where I'm going to be explaining the first mistake that beginners make. It tells us here that you can go up to 1/4 of an inch, which is quite shallow. So we're going to do work in layers, but we'll also see how far we can actually push it using this little crystal mould, which is more like 1 inch deep. Right, we're going to mix some of this up. We've covered our first common mistake, not reading the instructions and therefore using entirely the wrong resin. So I'm going to mix up a little pot of the resin here. It is important to get the ratios right. Go ahead and go with that. So we're just mixing up. I'm going to mix up quite a bit. Now this is another mistake that some new resin artists make. They'll take what is a relatively shallowish pore resin like this one, and they will mix up a big dollop in a pot like this, like I've just done, and leave it to sit there. Now I'm demonstrating here the way not to mix it. This is another common mistake that a lot of beginners make, and I do all the darn time. I do it from habit. I'm a nightmare. This is stirring too fast. Look how many bubbles we've got there. Now what I'm seeing is that this is degassing really nicely on its own anyway, but if you stir really slowly like this instead until that stringy look to it has gone, then you will have a lot less bubbles. We're going to use some suitably blue pots today, and we're going to split it out and we're going to try mixing some colours. So this one will be our pot to go in my pot mould. And I want to do the crystal one just in clear, because that I think is probably the best way to show off how clear the resin goes. Can you see those bubbles are dissipating already? Very, very well. That's a good sign. And this one is pushing my luck because that is deeper than the instructions say, but then it's not very big, so hopefully we're okay. I'm just doing that to let any bubbles out that get trapped under the sides. Let me put that to one side. Now this one, we are going to put some colour in. I've got more left than I thought I would have as well. So let's put a bit of mica powder in this, and there are some gorgeous colours in here, and I'm particularly fond of this one. It's a gorgeous deep shimmer of a colour. This mica powder set's got 30 different colours in it, and they're really strong. So we're going to put that in there. I'm going to put quite a bit because I think I want it to be fairly solid colour. Look at that, isn't that lovely? I think that's a great colour for a little heart. So this one again is pushing my luck a little bit. Now, it's a medium viscosity, but it's been quite cool in my craft room last night. And I haven't warmed the resin because I wanted you to see it just used as it is. I think it's about 17 degrees in the room at the moment, but it did drop to a lot cooler than that last night. So a bit more clear in there. There we are. Now I'm going to put some of this into the lid. Let's use this colour for the lid. This mould has got a little knobby top on it, so what we want to do is just give that a squeeze and make sure there's no bubbles trapped in there. The other big mistakes that I think beginners can make with resin, with epoxy resin in particular, is not mixing it long enough. You want to be mixing it sort of 3 to 5 minutes even, but you definitely need to make sure that that sort of cloudy, stringy look has completely gone out of it. So take your time, mix it slowly, make sure you've got it thoroughly mixed with the right ratios as accurately as you possibly can, and you should get good results. But I see people posting about having sticky resin or it's still bendy, things like that, and that is usually a mixing issue. So those are your main points really to bear in mind with your epoxy resin. And then impatience, leaving it, not leaving it long enough to actually cure. And this is why it's so important for you to know how the depth of your resin's going to work. Oh, mint. That's nice, isn't it? Should we do that? Right, I've cleaned our little spatula up. Let's take a good dollop of the minty colour. That's probably enough. It goes a long way. A good quality mica will, it'll have a very good heavy pigment to it. So that should be more than enough. Probably way too much, actually. So this is probably, as I said, using it way beyond what it should be in some of these pots. But we'll see exactly, how far this can be pushed past its limits. I would suggest stick to the instructions. So even if I find that it can go past its limits, I suggest you don't, because it is just asking for trouble. So I'm testing right sort of at the top end of its limits so that you can see what it can do. So to top coat this, I've just mixed up a little bit of their same resin again. I have to say, I am impressed with this resin. It's performing really nicely. That glossy finish, the coaster as well. I did miss a bubble here. But look, you can see the depth of that. That is a normal sort of coaster depth, which is what it's really intended for. But then it also has this lip around the edge. It's performed beautifully for that, as you will see, as has the mica powder. So I've mixed a tiny bit of Super Sparkle White, the 80 mesh, with a little bit of the resin. We're not going to need very much now, are we? So it just gives a little bit of a sparkle which doesn't sink. And we're going to just tip it straight over the sticker. That's a UV DTF sticker, by the way. That's why you can't see any edges. And that should make the colours pop even more and give it a little bit of zing. All this remains to do then is a bit of a wrap up at the end. We'll see what this all looks like when it's all finished, everything's demoulded. We'll have a look at how crystal clear the resin is, because I think that's what everybody really wants to know. And yeah, let's see how it's done. Okay, so that's quite a lot of resin on there. That's given it quite a clear, sparkly layer. I'm happy with that. Right, I'll see you later when this is cured. And I'll give you my final verdicts on everything. You can probably tell by the happy noises that I'm making that I am quite impressed with this stuff. Right, so I've been having fun while you've been gone. I've finished filling this up. It hasn't flash cured, so it seems to me that the resin will take a little bit more of a depth. We can take a little bit of a risk with it, so that's good. The lid's probably cured. The crystal's probably cured. I put the holographic back on it. But I'm going to give it a bit longer anyway. You see the bubbles? That's just because I put the holographic back on and I didn't do it very well because it was a bit of an afterthought. Little heart. I am going to demould now. Oh, look at that. What a beautiful glossy finish. I'm impressed with that. I really am. That is gorgeous. So that's good stuff. Now the rest, like I said, I am going to leave them for demoulding for now. But look, I was naughty. While you weren't looking, I made a coaster. I just tipped some resin, I just mixed in some of that beautiful copper colour into a coaster mould, waited till it cured, slapped a sticker on it, and that's where we're at. I just want to see how nicely this will work as a top coating in there, really. So here's our final pieces. Let's have a quick look. at what we've ended up with. Quick summary, we've got this gorgeously shiny little pendant. We've got this lovely crystal that I probably spoilt by putting the holographic thing on the back. It's made the colours from the holographic back come through, but it did trap all those bubbles, so that's user error. That is nothing to do with the resin, because as you can see through the main body of the piece, the bubbles situation is totally fine. I did get carried away and demould the little pot. Again, look how lovely and shiny that is. And the pot, absolutely cracking. Look at those colours, isn't that lovely? So don't forget those mica powders all came in that set that I got from Craft Resin as well. But that is absolutely scrumptious. Strange colour combination I went for, but hey, I love it. And then of course our little coaster. Isn't he adorable? But look at the shine on that resin. Can you see? That's the reflection of my phone as I'm filming this. Look at the shine. That is just superb. Very impressed with the resins. Thank you again for sponsoring this video, Craft Resin. And of course everyone, yes, we've got a yummy discount code down in the video description. So do take full advantage of that if you're thinking of treating yourself. Aren't they lovely? And it's time for a wrap up. I have to say, I am impressed with these products. I think the glossy finish on that alone says it all. Isn't that gorgeous? If you're going just that bit bigger, so coasters, bigger pieces of jewellery, that sort of thing, then definitely step on up to the epoxy resin. That's the basic guidance, but do have a look very carefully at what the maximum depth of that epoxy resin is, because you may need to be working in layers, or you may need to step up to a deep pour type resin that's specifically meant for more, greater depth. I hope that summarised everything. I hope it's also helped to clear up a few sort of beginner type mistakes and questions that I so often see raising their heads in our chats. And yeah, enjoy your resin, folks. It's good fun, isn't it? I'll see you later.